Feedback is blank. Fill in the blank. Share in the comments below the first thing that pops into your head when you read or are listening to me say feedback is blank. Because whether you believe it or not, that is your deep down true feeling about feedback. We all have emotional connections to feedback, either positive or negative, or in my case, a whole lot of both, a whole huge combination of both positive and negative things with respect to what other people have told me and given me constructive criticism on. Now, feedback to me is awesome. It is actually the fuel to everything that I do these days. I want to know how am I impacting people before I do or say or show up and make a commentary on something. Although I tend to just make a commentary on whatever I want anyway. But feedback, when given correctly, when given with kindness, when given with the intent to help the person that you're giving the feedback to, and when specific, so you give them a specific example of when this happened, I felt this way, etc. And then make a suggestion for how you would have liked the situation to go differently. Maybe it's a conversation, since we're talking about communication this month, or maybe it's something else, right? But feedback, to me, is one of the things that has always helped me to move much faster forward than if I get stuck and mired in my own thinking about a certain thing. Feedback, it's awesome when it's done with the right intent, when it's specific, when it's actionable, when it's something you can actually control, right? But most people give super vague, non-specific, and they call it feedback, but really it's just criticism, or it's just bitching and moaning, or it's just them trying to get something off their chest that really has nothing to do with you, but has everything to do with them. And once we realize that, we learn to embrace and like feedback. At least I do. My daughter still tells me I'm not very good at taking feedback because I don't always have the best emotional reaction initially. And I'm one of those people where it shows on my face, it shows in my body language, it shows everywhere exactly my first gut punch reaction to things, right? But effective feedback talks about a specific behavior. It talks about the impact of the behavior on the person or other people that it impacts. That information is shared and disclosed. And it gives some suggestions for improvement. It just doesn't criticize and say, well, that's your problem, figure it out. The person says, okay, what if you tried this? And you can do it in a collaborative way that makes everybody feel good, right? Grew up in corporate America, and one of the things that was part of my job description everywhere I worked was, of course, and it is your job as a leader to give people feedback. And I came up with some really fun ways. And I grew up back in the day when we actually did 360-degree feedback. I think that it's a common thing nowadays, but back then it was cutting edge and nobody was doing it. But I would just ask, my boss would do my feedback, my regular feedback, and I would do feedback for other people as their direct supervisor. But I wouldn't just do my feedback. I would do like a little research project, and I would have the person send out a little survey and a rating form to how many ever people they wanted to. If they wanted to get feedback from 5 people, they could do that. If they wanted to get feedback from their entire team, they could do that. If they wanted to get feedback from a cross section of people, they could do that. And what I found is then we'd have a meeting and we would actually verbally deliver the feedback to the person. And it was such a powerful emotional experience in so many cases, but it really helped to transform the person so that they could be a better version of themselves. I'm trying to think if I ever had one of those meetings go awry, and I don't think so. Even when people needed to hear how their behavior was negatively impacting the rest of the team, it was delivered in such a way with the intent to make the person and the team better that everybody embraced it. Receiving feedback, listen without reacting, or defending. You can react because sometimes people will deliver a really low blow, and you can react but not defend. Just take it in and then say, thank you, I understand, let me reflect on this, and then go and reflect on it. Think about the feedback that they gave you and really understand, is it for you? Was it given to you? If it makes you feel bad, it probably wasn't given for you. It was probably given with the intent that the other person needed to get something off their chest, or wanted to assess blame, or wanted to in some way, shape, or form make themselves feel better. But it wasn't for your benefit. Those types of feedback, there might be a kernel of truth in them. So pull out that kernel and just let go of the rest. I had to learn how to do that too, because some of the environments I've worked in the past have been very, very, I'm going to say harsh. Harsh is a good word to say. And I developed a very thick rhinoceros skin, I called it, in some of the places that I've worked, in some of the companies that I've worked with, because I knew all of the information was not about me and wasn't a criticism of me. It was actually where they were in their business development, personal development, etc. And so I've learned to kind of not take a lot of that personally. It is a challenge sometimes when people personally attack you, which I never understand. Disagree with the comment or the argument, but never attack the person. We don't need to attack the person. Anyway, what are we going to do with this today? We're going to pay attention to the feedback we get when people give us feedback and how we respond and react. A couple of things to think about today. How do you naturally react when somebody gives you feedback? I don't always react the best. I admit it. That's because we're all human. But how do you react and respond initially? And then take that in. I actually think I'm practicing and getting better at it. I've been actually asking my daughter to give me feedback so that I do get better at responding to it. Because she's probably one of my favorite people in the whole wide world. She is one of my favorite people in the whole wide world. I adore my kids. They're awesome. Ask yourself and reflect on today. What's your typical response? When's the last time you asked somebody for feedback? When is actually the last time you said, geez, I'm doing this new thing. Can you give me some feedback? Or I want to go into this certain thing. I'm actually doing this right now. I'm going into a new project. And so I'm putting out feelers and asking people for feedback. And I'm looking to see what lands with people and they respond positively, what they respond negatively to, and what just gets totally and completely ignored. Those are important things. We want to do more of what is awesome and gets us good response. We want to stop doing the things that don't get us any response. And we want to figure out the gap between the middle and do more of what works and stop doing the stuff that doesn't work. That's why feedback is so powerful, especially in our personal lives and as well as our careers and our business. I think most people that burn out and quit anything, a job, a business, a relationship, it's because they're not getting the information they need to keep going with that, right? I think about that in the different areas and aspects of my life, and it's very, very true. If we're getting feedback, and feedback comes in the form of results, right? Are we getting the results we want? If not, maybe this isn't the right thing for us, and we have to decide that. All right, so what are you going to do today? Share in the comments below the best feedback you've ever gotten. I'm going to say the one that's impacted me the most was from a gentleman by the name of Kevin, who used to work with Jim Edwards. Probably don't know who that is, but if you do, awesome human beings, both of them. Kevin's left us. He has lung cancer. But he told me repeatedly, ask, because I have always been one of those people that really struggles with asking for help, asking for anything. And so that is actually the best feedback and the best advice I've gotten. We all get feedback where people tell us we're great or awesome or something, but that kind of goes in one ear and out the other sometimes if we don't believe it too. All right, that's it. That's our topic for today, feedback. How often do you ask for it? How do you respond? How might you respond better? How might your life change if you started understanding and using feedback as the fuel to your next level in any area or aspect of your life? If you want to talk about this, hit me up. Otherwise, have an awesome day, and I will, of course, be with you tomorrow.